some messages that came through, so I'm going to relay that information to you before I go into this spread, okay? The first bit of information that I'm getting here is it feels to me as if a lot of you have walked away from a very tenuous relationship. For some of you, this can be in the work front where, things are not going to plan as planned. There might have been a long-standing, like, legal battle. There might have been some workers' comp stuff, as well as wrongful termination is what I'm sensing. It's something that has been drawn out for quite some time. I feel like, since 2015 for some of you, spanning the entire Saturn transit cycle as well. So, the past 3 years, for example. And I feel like you did everything that was necessary on your end to turn in all the paperwork, to do everything that you're supposed to do. And then the other people they keep needing you to go back and follow up. And it's really frustrating for you because, as a fire sign, once you do everything from your end, you expect the other people to hold up their end of the bargain and for them to take care of things on their own. So you want a clear, definite, resolute decision. And I feel like it has been dragged on for quite some time, and it feels very frustrating. And this is the month in which, I'm sensing that you're going to have to go back and submit additional paperwork. Do something that they might tell you, oh, this is the last time, this is the last time. But I feel like you're going back to do something. And I feel for a lot of you, it's legal issues. And then others, I feel like it's a work related, like a project not getting off the ground, getting proper funding, getting proper, like the proper people, like government officials, or even people in a position of authority and status to sign off on something. So it's been a little bit problematic. It might have been an 8-month time frame to come to an end, and you're going to be free of it. So this is a month in which, it's Mercury in retrograde. So a lot of the signs are re-examining, redoing, or revisiting unfinished business, unfinished projects, okay? And what I'm also feeling is the second message I have here is a relationship. And I feel like this. A lot of you have new romantic prospects trying to come into the picture for you. But I'm sensing that you're not clearly like freed from a relationship partner. So you might be, for example, getting separated. You might be thinking about getting separated while you're living in different households. Or you might even be completely separated and still sharing responsibilities, still living in the same place, or or it's complicated. Okay, so I feel like all of that is really affecting new relationships that are trying to come through, new people that are trying to make offers to you. And so, aim for a more clean cut energy in your relationship sector. So this message is coming in as, in juxtaposition to the first message, which is that you're frustrated about unfinished business. But at the same time, your relationship sector, it seems to me like there needs to be a lot of, loose ends to tie up. And I definitely feel that you are in a position to do it yourself. And so aim for that clean cut, black or white, yes or no type of energy that that makes you comfortable, and apply that to your relationship. Is it done or is it not? And be very resolute, okay? The third message I have here is I feel like a lot of you have recently um, like separated or had, there was like a communication breakdown with a significant person. And I feel like it might be a child of yours or somebody in your household environment. So it could be a partner, it could be a child. It's somebody that I feel like that you hold very close to your heart. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of stress, worries, and anxieties about how they perceive you. And I feel like you're beating yourself up over not just one incident, but over a series of incidences that have occurred, that has spanned years. And so you're feeling a little bit like you're feeling guilt. I'm sensing for some of you, and I feel like you want to rebuild that relationship, but they're not giving you, they're not giving you that clear, open communication, channel of communication, so that you can reach out to them. And I feel like they're very evasive when you want to talk. They might say like, "Oh, leave a message or text me," because I feel like it's not that they're conflict avoidant. I feel like they want to have. I'm sensing, especially if you're dealing with children, I'm sensing that they want you to have everything written down on paper, because in lifetime, like if it's a phone call, for example, they might react in a way that's out of character, so they want to have a little bit of time to think about it first before they respond. So I feel like for some of you, it might be estrangement from children, and not having, that open, clear channel of communication with them. And so you want to fix things, you want to rebuild, but I feel like I feel almost as if this is a situation that really hurts you. And I'm sensing, an apology. Honestly, an apology is going to go a long way, okay? So I feel that some of you might need to let down your pride and just suck it up and apologize. And I know that, with dealing with children especially, okay, it's really important for us to see the bigger picture here. And you're really usually very good at big picture stuff. But I'm sensing that, the other person knows how to push your buttons. And so my thing here is, if it's a family member, if it's a child, you have to apologize, okay? That's going to allow that open, channel of communication to open up, and so that you both can repair things, and that you don't have to be the only one to single-handedly fix things. They're in on it as well, but that channel of communication needs to be reopened. Last message I have for you guys. First of all, I'm feeling almost as if they're saying here difficulties when it comes to communication. So I feel like what they mean is not that you have difficulties communicating, but it's almost like if if communication has not been your forte, or if you feel like you're in a holding cell or in a holding pattern when it comes to communicating with another person. It's like you communicate one way, they understand it to mean another way. And if you have not gained any traction whenever you both, try to compromise, try to negotiate with one another, I feel as if it's important for you to change tactic, okay? So focusing heavily on communication, and being very deliberate and very, very direct, and don't go off on tangents. Just be very, very direct. Come into a communication situation with points that you want to get across, bullet points, so that you keep yourself on track. So if the situation has been problematic and you feel like you're not making traction, you're not getting your voice heard, or the other person is not listening to you, it's really important to not get frustrated, but to come to it with bullet points, so that you keep yourself on track and you don't go off on tangents, on segues, and not be able to find your way back. And it's going to make you a more effective speaker overall. Okay, so that's going to be really important coming through for this month. And I feel like you might be dealing with some people that are heavily affected, like negatively affected by the Mercury in retrograde cycle. And so the more concise and the more directed and the more organized you are with your thoughts, the better the conversation's going to go. Okay, so I feel like you have some really important conversations, job interviews even, um, work performance evaluation even. And I feel like you have a lot of important meetings that are taking place for this month. And I feel like your future financially might depend on it. So it's really important to come to the table with your very clear, solid, and valid speaking points, so that you don't get yourself off track, so that you address whatever it is that they're asking you. Okay, so having said that, let's go into your reading here, Sagittarius. So let me talk about your relationship sector, because it seems it's making me feel a little bit uncomfortable. So in your relationship sector, this is an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. And let's talk about this person as a romantic interest, okay? I feel like you have dealt with this person for a myriad, like a myriad of years. So like a number of years, and also through many, thick and thin type of circumstances. So this is an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. They are somebody who's very persuasive. They do something with communication for a living. I feel like they have a lot of influence, a lot of sway, and a lot of people like them, okay? And when they show up in the reverse position, this is when their power of persuasion, this is when their gift of the gab is kind of like turning on you, where they want you to do a specific way, and they might resort to manipulation. They might resort to, distorting the truth in order to get you to do something that they want. And I feel like communication with this person is going to go awry for this month. And a lot of it has to do with um, their inability to, I feel like hone in on a specific talking point. Their inability to, it's almost like dragging up the past when you're discussing about a problem in the present time. And I feel like they're losing track. They're a little bit scattered. And so it's really difficult for you to handle this energy. You like to fix problems, Sagittarius. And I feel like when somebody is coming through and they're all frazzled, it makes you frazzled. And so I feel like you have a partner that is like this that you have to contend with. And I feel like they might be prone to exaggeration. They're very intelligent, but I feel like they might be prone to exaggeration. And so because they have exaggerated in the past, or they might have told, a few lies here and there in the past, you don't really know how much you can trust them anymore. So I feel this energy coming through, and I feel almost as if you see the best in this person, and you give them the benefit of the doubt, and you almost want to like give them second chances, but your patience is kind of running thin with this person, okay? Your patience is wearing out. And so I can't tell you to be patient here, because I feel like the way they have conducted themselves is a little bit questionable. And this is something that you know to be true in the past, okay? I feel like this is going to be a communication with relationship partners. It's coming through very strongly for you both to just hash out whatever has been kind of like swept under the rug, whatever has been minimized or downsized, or just like whatever you both have been in denial about. I feel like it's really important this month to get to the heart of the matter, to try to understand what exactly happened, to try to flush out the truth, because I feel like somebody is withholding information on purpose, and the other person has an intuition that something's off. So it could be from your end or from their end. The other person has the other person's radar is picking up that, oh, there is some hidden information. And I feel like this is an ongoing cyclical thing. It's happening right now in Mercury in retrograde, so that you both can address it and then move on from it, okay? So don't leave things in gray areas that tend to make you uncomfortable. And I feel like them as well. And so hash it out once and for all, and try to, move on from this. Your financial situation, I feel it is heavily linked up with another person. And I feel almost as if on your own, some of you, you might not be able to make it, or you feel like you might not be able to make it. And so you might cling on to a relationship because of the security. But I feel like it's a false sense of security, because I'm sensing that you're making great strides. The work sector seems to me to be, it's like stable. And I do sense as well, you take great pride in being able to take care of yourself, being independent, and being self-sufficient. So if your financial situation is linked up with another person, I do feel that you're kind of like in a ebb and flow cycle where financially you're not able to achieve security, and that worries you a little bit, okay? So be careful about frivolous spending. I'm sensing for some of you there might be a little bit of preparation for a divorce, for a settlement, or even for a separation from a romantic partner. And there might be finances that are unaccounted for. So money squirreled away, inheritances that are not included in the picture. So if you have financial entanglements with another person, and it is also tax season in the States, it might be problematic for you, okay? And I feel like you might need to deal with this with a partner or with like children as well. So I feel like, there's some financial entanglements here. It gets a little bit confusing, and it's going to be a source of contention for your family unit, okay? What I feel in terms of your communication, and this is coming through in a way that is really good, okay? It looks very, very good. They're telling you, I'm looking at this combination here. Somebody is upset and the other person is very calm, okay? So the energy for communication overall is do not fight fire with fire. Aim to be very, very grounded. When the other person is frazzled, you need to be the voice of reason, and vice versa. When you yourself are frazzled, the other person needs to be able to um, compartmentalize information, to be able to be a lot more systematic with how they access and filter and process information. And it sounds easier said than done, but they're telling you people might be a little bit irritated, frustrated in your work environment. And so it's really important for you to have to calm them down. So that means being very grounded yourself and asking them follow-up questions, de-escalating tension, because I feel like this is the energy that they're bringing to the table, and you need to be very, very stoic, very calm and collected so that you're not swept up in this person's wrath or in this person's chaotic energy. In the work front, there will be some conflict brewing. Okay, so this is a card where you have to defend yourself, where you might not agree on a values basis. You might not be able to communicate your point across, but I feel like standing very firmly to your belief, but doing so in a more calm, collected manner, that's going to play in your favor, Sagittarius. So here is just my advice overall. You are a fire sign, and staying cool, calm, and collected is I feel like for the majority of you, that is not an easy task for you to do, okay? It's not an easy task for you to maintain your calm. And so think about how you are communicating. Think about what people are coming in with, okay? And try to not take things personally. Be very, very objective and treat them almost as if, oh, they're asking me to help them with something. So then you can offer solid advice. I do sense a lot of people left and right coming in coming in with their own problems, and you're going to be the one to mediate, to do damage control, as well as to try to do the right thing and to try to unruffle other people's feathers. So undo the damage is what I'm seeing here. Um, I don't like to see this energy, but I feel like it's something coming through so that you can, strengthen your resolve. If you can defend your what you believe in, I feel like that's going to go a long way in your work sector and also in your career sector. So like I mentioned before, there are important meetings, discussions, and things like that happening for this month, and staying very calm and cool is going to be in your favor, okay? So try to do this, try to do meditation before big meetings, especially if you are, dealing with somebody who's quite combative and you're a little bit afraid or a little bit intimidated. Just make sure that you get yourself very grounded, okay? Grounding meditation prior to important meetings, that's going to be vital for you. I do see a lot of you job interviews. Questions are being, kind of thrown at you left and right. Be very quick on your toes, but also take the adequate time to think things through. So I do feel here a lot of opportunities for going on job interviews. So for those of you looking for work, I do sense like this is a good month overall. And you know, I don't rarely say that, I rarely say that in Mercury in retrograde periods, but I feel like overall it is a really good month for you where you can, and I'm seeing several interviews where you can stand firm in your beliefs. And I feel like for some of you, I'm seeing you have like a very diverse set of like jobs that you've done on your resume. So your resume is a little bit scattered and you feel like, oh no, that's going to work against me when I have too many different like different experiences, work experiences. But I feel like it's actually going to be in your favor for this month, okay? So it's really important for you to be your dynamic self and to really emphasize your versatility because of all the different jobs, the different positions, the different companies that you've worked with, or even the different careers that you've had, okay? So that's going to actually be in your favor. So don't downplay that part about you, but, you know, learn to, learn to, try to figure out how your skills are transferable, because the employers or whoever is interviewing you, they want to know how you can incorporate everything that you've learned into the new work environment. So as long as you're able to extract whatever you learn from that work environment, you're going to be in, you know, in good hands. Okay, so there's a lot of interaction with other people, and I feel like you're carrying yourself in a really straightforward, directed manner, honest, and also confident as well. So all the job interviews, I feel like they're panning out pretty well, but I feel like when it comes to your main career, some of you might be looking for jobs that are stepping stone jobs rather than long-term career prospects. And so I do have some opportunities coming through. It might not be, you know, the first, second choice, but I do feel like a lot of alleviation when it comes to not being able to find work, not being able to find that work that will give you that, you know, it's like to climb that corporate ladder or to climb that career ladder or even be that stepping stone or launching pad for your future career. I do see you having new opportunities coming in for work, and it's going to be very reassuring for you. So if you've had blockages when it comes to money, when it comes to landing that right career, I do feel it's going to clear up for you this month. And it's ironic that it's happening in Mercury in retrograde, but I feel like this might have been an ongoing, you know, like issue for the past 4 months. And so because you work very diligently at it, you're making traction for this month, okay? I'm also seeing here, especially for those who are single, a lot of new connections, love connections made through acquaintances, okay? So very, very good month overall. So these are two of my favorite cards. We have here the Six of Cups as well as the Three of Cups. So this is all about socializing, having a good time, having soulful, heartfelt communication with another person. And I almost feel like, you know, serendipitous, fated meeting with another person that can really restore your love in humanity, your faith in love, and your faith in yourself. So Sagittarius, the energy that you bring to the table for this month, it's very strong. It shows somebody who has a lot of experience, and it shows somebody who wants to do the right thing, who wants to help other people, who wants to empower other people. And when you take that energy to your social relationships, I feel like people are really going to want to be around you. They see you as somebody who's very giving and, you know, magnanimous and just generous. And so they're really going to want to be around you. And likewise, when it comes to making connections with new love partners and things like that, I see a lot of new people being introduced to you via your acquaintance circle, okay? The relationship aspect is a little bit challenging, but I feel like for singles, it's a really good month. For people looking for work, very, very good month as well. So let me just go very quickly into your love reading here. So I'm going to leave that out. So Sagittarius, 17. So I feel like some of you have a relationship partner who is a little bit emotionally blocked, and that's based on this. and they might not know how to express themselves in a way that is comforting. Okay, so for example, if you had a bad day, you vent to them, and they try to solve your problems for you, and you're just like, I just want to vent. And I feel like your way of expressing yourself emotionally is not in sync with the way they express themselves emotionally. And if you're dealing with a person like this, the way that they make connection is to have a lot of conversation. They want to talk to you. They want to exchange ideas with you, and they want to like have many conversations with you. It could be about anything, and rarely is it emotional. But I feel like your way of communicating and especially expressing your love is more, I feel like it might be more physical. It might be more like, having somebody physically there with you. And so they might, call you a lot on the phone. They might want to text all the time, and you're at work and you're getting frustrated, okay? So I do sense like the way that you want to them to show love and the way that you want to express love is very different from that person that you're in that relationship with. But overall, let me see. I feel like something is coming to an end here, and a lot of it has to do with financial issues, financial misdealings, especially affecting the relationship. So this almost reminds me of a Cancer reading because of the fire signs here. Or was it Leo? Yeah, I think it's Leo. It's Leo, not Cancers. You might be in a relationship here with that Leo person. If you are, you might want to check that reading, okay? It's okay. So I pulled out extra cards for you because I want to be very clear about which direction we are headed. Okay. So here, let me just say this. I mentioned earlier, I feel like somebody is trying to give you love, right? And you've been hurt in the past, and I feel like you're not ready to re-engage and you're not ready to date, okay? And you have trouble trusting new relationship partner. And so that's what I'm feeling for a lot of you. So let me just say this. We have here in the present situation, we have here the Five of Wands, and this is the card about conflict, okay? Having like some perpetual conflict, not seeing eye to eye, having a lot of just discord in the relationship. And we have here an earth sign. So this is a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn that you're dealing with. When they are operating at their best, they're very structured, they're very reliable, they're very dependable. When they are operating at their worst, which might be the case here, they're incredibly unreliable. And financially, they might be a little bit of a mess. And I feel like there is a financial entanglement situation here where you might be dependent on this person financially, and I feel like they're not pulling their weight in the relationship, okay? So I have as well the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords is a situation where somebody is not being honest. They're hiding the truth. They're lying by omission. And this is a situation where I feel like you are very frustrated by this person. If you're in a relationship with them, it seems to me like this is a recurring pattern. Something like this has happened in the previous time. And I feel like because things were not nipped in the bud, because things were not addressed, issues are creeping up again. The same issues are creeping up all over again. It's really important for you to try to communicate in a way where you are collected, calm, and rational, because this person responds really well to clear, cogent, coherent arguments. If you behave in a way where it's like this, and you can't really express yourself because you're so frustrated and angry, they're going to just slink out the door pretending they understand, and then the same thing repeats, okay? So the way in which we communicate here, we have to understand that, it's like different species. You both are so different from each other that you're not arguing over the same things. And this is a tree and a person, right? So, two different species. And it's really important as well to, I feel like, not, don't fly off the handle, because immediately the other person is going to be on the defense and there's major communication breakdown. So behave in a way that is very rational, very calm, okay? And I'm seeing this is a situation where it might be about finances. And as well, some of you dealing with this person, I feel like a little bit of a breach of trust. It's like, I feel like it's communication related. So you might tell them something and you're like, okay, don't tell anybody else. And then they go ahead and tell their best friend, or they tell their brothers, their sisters, whoever it is. So I feel like it's a breach of trust. It's not something so severe, but I feel like they've done this before. You tell them one thing and they do another, okay? And I also feel like, I don't see infidelity and things like that, but I feel like this is something where somebody is behaving in a way where they prove themselves over and over and over again that they can't take care of themselves. They can't be trusted to their own devices, okay? They can't be left to their own devices. So that's what's coming through. And I feel like you are right in being upset. It's just the way that you communicate so that this doesn't happen again. It needs to be flushed out so the other person understands, okay? In the past situation, we have here the Ace of Swords as well as the King of Wands. So here's what I'm sensing. Okay, so let me just say this. And it's, the energy is like either coming from your end or from their end, but I feel like it's coming from your end, Sagittarius. So here's what I'm sensing, and this is going to, it's not going to apply to all, so please don't get offended. Okay, so, a lot of the times, right, we stay in unhealthy relationships. And I always wonder why people do it. And then as the longer I do tarot, the more I start to understand human nature in general. When we have control issues, okay, and I feel like um, you might have control issues, or you might be dealing with somebody with control issues. And when you are in a relationship where there is control issues, we have here the King of Wands, which is somebody who's very caring, very protective, generally very caring, very protective. And I feel like this might be your energy, okay, in the past. And you're dealing with somebody who is, with the Ace of Swords, somebody who's lacking in, the technical skills or the practical life experience. So their life seems like it's one chaos after another. And I feel like you stay in that relationship because they're so disoriented that it gave you a lot of control. Does that make sense? So one person felt like they had a lot of control in that relationship because the other person was just not reliable. And you might not, you might have stayed in that relationship mainly because there was a very strong purpose for you. You found your purpose in that relationship. And then the other person, because you were the pillar of strength, the other person felt like, okay, they don't need to do anything. They can act irresponsibly, and you would do the damage control. So I feel like there was a very unhealthy relationship here, or at least you might still be in it. And the other person might be an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, or you might still be with them and they're an earth sign, a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. It seems like there was a situation that was out of control, but because one person was always in control, the other person was out of control. Everyone had a clearly defined role, and you didn't mind staying in it. And let me just reassure you, relationships need to be a two-way street, equal give and take. Otherwise, it's a codependent, toxic relationship. And I feel like it was fun and games while it started, and you might have a hard time tearing yourself away from it because you felt needed in that relationship. Okay? So please don't get offended. That's a small minority of you. But I feel like you are becoming aware of this cycle. You are becoming aware. And if not, you're going to come into full awareness for this month. And I hope that you make the right decision to, cut ties, because it's not entirely healthy. It's an emotional roller coaster. And one person had to bear the brunt of the relationship because the other person behaved very irresponsibly. Okay? Crowning this reading is something that you are thinking about. We have here the Eight of Swords, freeing yourself from a mental or even physical prison. Whatever you have kept yourself in hostage, in limbo about, you have freed yourself, or at least you are thinking about how you're going to be able to extract yourself, how you're going to be able to shake this person who is very accusatory, who might be very harsh with their words. And you're hoping to be able to work up the courage and the strength in order to get yourself out, because you know it's not good for you. Okay? I feel like for some of you, I'm feeling as if you have gotten yourself out of it. You're rebuilding yourself. You're rebuilding your financial empire. You're rebuilding your self-esteem. You're rebuilding. I'm feeling like a major drastic makeover. Okay, a new lease on life. Getting yourself in shape. Getting yourself like either seeing a therapist to try to work through and process the events. And I also feel as well, you're regaining your confidence. So it's getting there. It's not complete yet, but I feel like you have done the work necessary from your end to free yourself from this very toxic person. And I do sense that there might still be financial entanglements between you and them. There might be children as well. So it's still a little bit tenuous, and it's still a little bit like messy. In the foundation here, you honestly are looking for peace of mind. And I feel like there's a lot of responsibilities on your plate. And getting adequate rest is going to be something that's very necessary, okay? You want to, I feel like some of you, you don't want to be bothered with relationship. You feel to me to be a little bit jaded. And so you want to be left alone. On top of that, you have a lot of, child rearing responsibilities that you need to take care of as well. And the financial situation is just on its way to get better, but it's not as to the best of it's not functioning to the best of your capabilities just yet, and you're finding ways to get yourself out of financial debt, or even financial, like, that sense of lack, either in self-esteem or in capabilities. So I feel like a rebuilding process is happening for a lot of you. So this is a really caring person. They have a lot of they have a very generous spirit. They have a lot of love to give. And I feel like you know this about you. You know that you are a really generous person. But the relationship has kind of left you questioning your sense of self-worth, and also left you questioning your capabilities. So I feel like some of you were in a relationship that is toxic, codependent. And now that it's out of the picture, you're trying to find your reason to be, okay? And then others, you were with somebody who was very critical, very, very harsh with you. And over time, I feel like you internalize everything that they've said, and you might not feel that you are worthy. So I have some really heavy stuff here, Sagittarius, and I feel like you are trying to break away from this. You're overcoming this. Moving in the future position, we have here breakthrough, renewal in ourselves, being on the right track, feeling as if even though we are alone, we're still very happy. And so that's for those of you who have gone out of relationships. I do see this as a card that indicates breakthrough in therapy, okay? So that sense of renewal, that feeling as if you can rebuild yourself, things are getting better, feeling that light at the end of the tunnel. It's linked up here with the Empress, and it's also linked up here with the Nine of Coins. So I don't see so much like for, even for singles, let me just say this. For singles people, I feel like you have somebody in your environment that really, you have a very pessimistic person that you grew up with. through childhood conditioning, through your interaction with this person for a long period of time, you really doubted relationships. I feel like this person might have told you, like things where they might say like all men cheat, all women cheat, for example, and you grow up, you internalize that. So it could even be like somebody who was taking care of you. It could even be another relationship partner, and it really affected your self-esteem. And so I feel like you might have spent your time amassing a huge financial empire and not have time to date, okay? And I feel like this is the month in which you might realize that life feels a little bit empty because you're not able to make emotional connections. You're not able to get out there and put yourself out there in order to love and receive love. And you're going to be in the process of changing this for yourself. So that's for singles. I feel like you're heavily affected by somebody's pessimism, and as a result, you might grow up thinking that love is a lot of work, a lot of responsibilities, and it's not worth it. And so you spend your time devoted to, friendships and work and things like that, and you feel a little bit empty inside. It's a good month for you to get yourself back out there. Okay, it's a really good month, and I'm sensing that you might be able to date outside of your type, and you might just, find the one. And trust me, I rarely say this in a Mercury retrograde cycle, but we have the star here. This is wish fulfillment. Having a really strong mental, emotional, spiritual connection with another person, and especially even dating somebody who might be in the teaching profession, in the healing profession as well, okay? Somebody who's a teacher, somebody who's a therapist, somebody who's a doctor, somebody who might just be a life coach, for example, or somebody that cares about the bigger picture and they show you how to live in a spiritually, energetically connected way, okay? So they're going to be able to activate your heart chakra to allow you to overcome these challenges in the past, okay? With the Empress in the reverse, this is like dating outside of our usual type, okay? This is also like feeling a little bit shy, feeling either out of shape, feeling a little bit self-conscious about our bodies when we reconnect and when we become intimate with a new person. So I feel like some of you are still grappling with this, but I'm sensing there's positive energies here for singles. And then for coupled people, there's a lot of work that needs to happen in your relationship, and I feel like finances is really affecting the relationship. You might be financially linked up with another person that you're no longer in love with, and you can't leave because of financial reasons. So I just want to emphasize once again, we all have reasons to stay and we all have reasons to leave, okay? And so I'm not going to dwell on it, but I feel like this relationship might be hurting you, especially if you're dealing with an earth sign. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. I don't feel this is a situation that can be fixed because I feel like you both are nitpicking at each other, and that's not a good relationship to be in. And then I see like for others of you, trying to, rebuild your self-esteem, trying to have some breakthrough, trying to rebuild yourself, and you're a really optimistic sign and you always bounce back. And I feel like the relationship sector for the past few months, I see, changes and things like that. And I feel like new people are trying to come through for you, but you're a little bit scarred from the past and you're not able to invest yourself fully. So it's almost like, getting yourself in new relationships, re-engaging with new people, possibly an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, if this is new, and feeling as if at any minute the relationship is going to go awry. So it's like thinking about worst case scenarios when things have barely even started with a new person, okay? So, Sagittarius, I'm very sorry. I don't like to relay bad messages, but I feel like there's a lot of relationship hangups, and I feel a lot of it deals with self-esteem issues. And I feel that you were in a relationship that was not good for you. It really affected your self-esteem, and you're trying to move away from that, which I feel you're going to be successful, okay? And new relationship partners coming through that might not be, your usual type, but you're taking a chance. You're giving it a try, and that's what I really like to see for you guys. Okay, so if you like to book a private reading with me, I hope the reading has been helpful, by the way. Okay, and if you'd like to book a private reading with me, the website and the information is in the description box. If you'd like to donate to the channel as well, the link is also in the description box. I'm going to be out of town I'm going to get that out early before I leave, okay? Sagittarius, I wish you the best. I hope things are looking up for you guys, and take care of yourself. Stay cheerful, stay optimistic, and this too shall pass, okay? Take care of yourself, Sagittarius. Best of luck. Bye-bye.